or social media.
Perfect.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
That would really be great.
Excellent. So I'm glad you had a great turnout. Hopefully it's going to continue to get better throughout the course of the year.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks. And so our Compass group, we meet on the second Tuesday of the month. I think it's at 12:30. Is that right, McGee? Yeah, so second Tuesday of the month, we welcome other people if you want to help generate ideas or be part of our planning committee. That was the Elder Expo Planning Committee that's now kind of the Compass for Caregivers Committee / Expo Committee, but we're certainly open to other people joining in if they want.
Excellent. How many committee members do you actually have right now?
Well, often it is Ray Ann Butler, myself, McGee, Mary Collins, and Bonnie Elliott are kind of the core group of folks that are present and active at this point, I would say.
Excellent. Cool. Thank you. So into the next thing. So Eileen, if you can introduce our guest. And Lindsay, do you have a presentation you want to share? Okay.
I do, yeah. If I can share my screen, that would be fantastic.
It is all yours here. So if you would do a nice little introduction, Eileen, as you always do for our guest.
Sure. But you have to stop sharing in order for me to share.
All right, thank you.
Okay, while they do that, a little bit of housekeeping. I'm so honored to be able to introduce Lindsay McCormick. Lindsay is the founder of Maryland Center for Brain Health. She was the program manager at Bayada, so she comes with lots of great experience. And I love her tagline, "Your path to a thriving mind," which is something we all need and our constituents need. And my burning question, because I'm jumping the shark, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want, Lindsay, but what is the difference between someone's brain and someone's mind? But I'm gonna let you work on that and turn the meeting over to Lindsay McCormick. Thanks,
That's
Lindsay.
a great question, Eileen. I will try to get to that toward the end. If you remind me,
Sure. Okay.
Please, let me see if I can. This is a little different than when I tried it at home. So let me make sure that this
always is when you're on the spotlight.
Right? You think you get everything good to go, and then the Zoom updates. Are you seeing the whole screen?
We see the presentation mode side, but it works either way. Yeah, multiple screens, it can be challenging.
It sure is. How's that? Can you see that now?
Great. Looks good.
Awesome. Okay. So I thank you for that wonderful introduction, Eileen. It's really great to be talking here to you all. For those of you that don't know me and haven't seen me present before, I'm Lindsay McCormick, founder of the Maryland Center for Brain Health. I am a PTA by trade, and last year during the pandemic, I came across a company that was doing some really phenomenal things with brain health and dementia and Alzheimer's prevention and treatment. And I approached them about what they were doing and this protocol that they were using. And I asked them if I could bring it out here to the East Coast, because I think that it's an incredibly valuable tool and something that pretty much everybody could use. And I just wanted to spread it far and wide as much as I could. When I was working as a PTA, I really developed a very strong passion for working with older adults, and especially older adults with neurodegenerative issues, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's. I became very, very fascinated with the way that the brain and the body work, and also with the body's ability to heal itself. So the protocol that I'm using is a very holistic approach to the treatment of cognitive disorders. We're really looking at how your brain and your body connect together. I think we all know that we have a brain, and we all know that we have a body. And I think sometimes the two of those, we don't realize, how much they are intertwined and how much they mesh together. So what we're doing is trying to get your brain and your body talking again, because what affects your body really truly affects your brain. And our goal is to really be a resource on somebody's healthcare journey, and to be an addition to, all the other treatments that they might be getting. The exciting thing about brain health is that our brains are so pliable right now, and there is so much that can be done to help our hippocampus regenerate new cells. And we know that it's normal to have some sort of cognitive decline and memory loss as we get older, But what's not normal is dementia, and what's not normal is Alzheimer's. And I think that we've kind of fallen into this trap of, well, that's just what happens when we age, right? Like, that's our destiny. We're just going to be the little old lady with the walker and the, rollator that can't get up the stairs and whose memory is going. And I think that it's really, really important that people know that that doesn't have to be our destiny, that, if we do things to take care of ourselves, we can be strong and fit as we get into our senior years. And, Alzheimer's is at work in the body 10 to 20 years before symptoms even show up. And to me, that is one of the scariest statistics, because we don't know what's happening in our bodies right now. And our goal is to help people be able to prevent these diseases. So I want to know, where is the brain health prevention? I'm sure all of you have gone to have a physical at your doctor's, right? Maybe not in the past 2 years because of COVID, but you should go if you haven't. But what happens when you go to get a physical, right? You go in, doctor takes out a stethoscope, checks out your heart, checks out your lungs, checks your blood pressure. But does he put the stethoscope on your head? No, he doesn't. Why are we not checking for brain health during our yearly physicals? We check for absolutely everything else. So why are we not looking at our brains? We do colonoscopies, we do mammograms. There's so many preventative things that we're doing every year to make sure that our bodies are healthy, but we're not doing them for our brains. So our goal is to give people an advocate and give them a coach and a way to help them learn what their risk factors are and what they can do to help prevent their cognitive decline. So I don't know if a lot of you are bakers like me. I love to bake, and I am what's known as a spontaneous baker. I get a big craving and I'm like, let's make a cake now. Let's do it. And I don't bother to check to see if I have all the ingredients in my house. So I just start, get out a recipe and I just start throwing things together only to find out, oh no, I am out of eggs, or I only had one egg left and I'm out of sugar or baking powder. It happens a lot. But I kind of look at brain health the same way. Is there's not just one ingredient that goes into making our brains strong and healthy. And I think that the common approaches that have happened over the years is that we're looking to add just that one missing ingredient, right? What if I am missing these ingredients and you are my kindly neighbor and you come over with some eggs for me so that I can finish making my cake? That's great, but I'm still missing several essential ingredients. And so my cake is never going to get made. And brain health is kind of the same way. I really love this slide, and I don't expect you to try and read this slide. There's a lot going on. I just want to give you a snapshot of this is what we're looking at when we are trying to connect the brain and the body and optimize everything that's going on with you. This is our ingredients. This is our pantry, and we want to make sure that everything on this slide is being optimized and utilized to its fullest extent. I want to tell you about a client that we had recently. I like to show these slides so that you guys can get kind of a visual picture of what we do, because I think when I talk about it, it's kind of hard to be like, what? I don't really understand what's happening with what you guys do. So this is a test that we give people. We give them cognitive tests when they get on our protocol, and this is called Cns Vital Signs, and it really looks at a whole lot of different brain functions, as you can see over on the left-hand side here. And if you look at this gentleman, he was literally a certified genius before he started to get cognitive decline. Very, very, very smart man. Had to unfortunately take early retirement and very, very much desperately wanted to get back into being a functioning member of society. So when he came to us and we did his initial testing, you can see like on the right-hand side here that he, a lot of his stuff was in the low, very low index, and most of his scores were in the low average. So he was not scoring in above average or average for just about anything, only a couple parameters. So he got on our protocol and he was on it for about 4 months so far, and we retested him. And when you look at his scores now, you can see how dramatically they have changed in just 4 months. I really love this test because it's a very objective test. It's not a subjective test. This is exactly what has happened to him as he's gone through the protocol. So this really shows just how much our brains can change when we optimize what's going on in our body. He is now in the above average and average category for almost everything. So it's really, really exciting to see the changes that can happen. I really, really love this video. I think when I talked at the ANA meeting, I mentioned this lady. She gave us permission to show her video here. The protocol is not just for individuals. There are some assisted living communities that are adopting this and really trying to change the way that we look at assisted living. And this young lady here was on the protocol for a while, and she was using our therapy devices, got a lot of her blood work checked out, and she had not walked in 10 years, could not sit up on the edge of the bed unassisted, was using a Hoyer lift to transfer. And I just want to show you how she's doing now. So I like this video, just like brings such a smile to my face every time I see it, because her family was ecstatic to see her up and moving and being able to do things on her own again. And it makes me cry almost just looking at it. Oops, we're not just in dementia care, we're in brain health care. So we are trying to optimize your brain health, and it doesn't matter what it is that has compromised your brain health. I had a gentleman's family reach out to me because he had contracted Zika encephalitis. I don't know if, a lot of you know what the Zika virus is. It was a big thing a while ago. You get it from mosquitoes, and sometimes when you contract it, you can get encephalitis or a lot of inflammation in your brain. And they contacted us wanting to know what we could do to help him. Our very first client was actually a 52-year-old woman who was going through menopause and suffering from memory loss, sleep loss, incredible fatigue. And I don't know if any of the women in here have gone through menopause yet, but if you remember what those symptoms were like, the hot flashes and the sleeplessness and, not being able to focus or concentrate on anything, we were really able to help her kind of get her life back. We just had somebody contact us on Monday about their father had just gone in for brain surgery to remove a tumor, and he was experiencing a lot of stroke-like symptoms, and they wanted to find out what we could do when he came home from the hospital. So there's a lot of different things that we're looking at. People go to their doctors to find out about fibromyalgia, concussions, Parkinson's, all of these different things. And a lot of times the doctors don't necessarily know what to do or don't have a lot of the latest research. And sometimes they just need somebody to coach them through, their brain risks. So what we do on our protocol is it's a very, very individualized protocol. We do not take a cookie cutter protocol and just give it out to people. It's based on all of your personalized life history, blood work, cognitive testing. So we like to get a very, very comprehensive blood panel. We're looking at like 30 to 40 different aspects of your blood. And it's kind of the difference between going to Jiffy Lube and getting your oil changed and then actually taking your car to a mechanic and having them do a thorough workover for it. That's kind of what we're looking for here with your blood work. We want to check out everything that's going on in your body and figure out how we can optimize it. We like to review your life and health history, because a lot of times what happened to you as a kid is really going to affect your cognition now as you get older. Like I said, Alzheimer's starts 10 to 20 years before we even notice it. And sometimes people have had concussions and they don't realize it. They were exposed to toxic, chemicals growing up on farms. So there's a lot of things that happen to us when we're younger that we don't realize can affect our cognition. And then we like to do a lot of cognitive testing, so we have a really good baseline of where somebody is at. Then we take all of these parameters and we combine them into what's called our roadmap report, which really outlines your risks and the interventions that you can take to start either preventing your cognitive decline or improving it. And throughout the protocol, while you're on it, you have ongoing weekly coaching sessions so we can help you prioritize and work through how to implement these interventions. we use a very multimodal approach. We're not just looking at one thing, right? We want to cover nutrition, exercise, sleep habits, stress management, toxic exposure, concussion, supplements, and many, many other things we're looking at because all of these play a factor into your brain health. If you're local, you have access to all of our brain therapy devices, our PEMF device, audiovisual entrainment, near infrared sauna, red light therapy. These are really exciting devices that just sort of help to optimize the healing in your body. A lot of these are starting to be used by sports teams to help with recovery. NASA's been using the PEMF device, so it's pretty exciting, a lot of the new technology that's coming out. We do care partner education and coaching, especially if somebody has been recently diagnosed with dementia, even if they've been caring for them for a long time. Sometimes it can be really hard to navigate. How do I talk to them? How do I communicate with them? What can they still do versus what can they not do? So we're available for any of that education. We love, love, love to collaborate with physicians. So we really encourage people to take their roadmap report, take their blood work, and go talk to their physician about it and have a discussion. And if those physicians want to talk to us, we are always open to having calls. And then, of course, resourcing. It really does take a village, I think, to really help somebody get well. And that's why I love having all of you as a resource that I can refer out to, because oftentimes a lot of my clients are going to need a lot of you all as well. And just a few sobering statistics for you all. It's really scary that I think 1 in 9 adults that are over 45 are going to already start having a decline in brain function. It happens a lot sooner than we think. 1 in 3 seniors will die from Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia. And Alzheimer's is one of the fastest growing epidemics in the US right now. Almost 14 million people are expected to have it by 2050. And to me, these numbers are unacceptable. We've got to be doing something. And there is more that we can be doing than just, trying to find one pill that's just going to cover the symptoms and not actually look at what is causing this within our body. So, to wrap this up, I really appreciate you all letting me talk here. And I personally am on a mission to help save as many futures as I can. And I really hope that you all will join me in this journey. It's really hard to know, just looking at people, what they're going through, if they're already experiencing cognitive decline, if maybe they're caring for somebody, an ailing family member with dementia, and they're wondering, am I next? We're here for you. We're here for your clients. We're here for your family members. So please, please don't hesitate to reach out. Here is our contact information. So again, I'm always here. If you guys want to schedule a free consultation or you just have questions, please call or email. And I want to bring up Eileen's question about the difference between the brain and the mind. And the truth is there isn't a lot of difference. The mind is the brain and the brain is the mind. And, if you're talking about mental health versus brain health, it's all connected. It's all connected in the body. The things that are happening in the body that start to cause cognitive decline also start to cause depression, anxiety, agitation. When we look at seniors and they start to, get into the throes of Alzheimer's and they start to get those aggressive behaviors and that agitation, and we just sort of plow them under with antipsychotic medications without actually looking at their body, looking at their blood work, looking at what's happening inside them. And we just try and basically shut them up, like just give them medication and put them to the side, and hopefully they won't bother us anymore. And I don't want that to happen. So it's the mind and the body and the brain, they're all connected, and they what affects one affects the other. And you can't really address your brain health and without addressing your body, and you can't address your mental health without addressing your body. So it all kind of works in conjunction together. So I don't know, Eileen, if that answered your question. And if it didn't, please feel free to elaborate.
It does. Thank you. Any other questions?
I would imagine there's going to be quite a few. Lindsay, how is payment? How do you get paid?
I am private pay. So unfortunately, insurance doesn't cover any of this yet, with the exception of some of the blood work. When we have a contract with LabCorp, so we get significant discounts on the blood work, so it doesn't cost a total arm and a leg. And a lot of times you can submit that back to your insurance for reimbursement, especially if you've submitted with the roadmap report that we give you. So you can be like, look, here's what we got tested for, here's what it showed, and here's what we can do about it. Usually the insurance will reimburse you. We can also give you a list of the labs that we draw, and you can take that to your doctor and say, hey, I really like to get these labs done. How many of these can I get done, and how much will my insurance pay for? And then you can just come back and get the rest of them done with us, whatever your insurance won't pay for.
Do you know by chance for families that have like an FSA plan, if this is one of those items that would be in the category for FSA?
Yes, actually, I have several people that have used their FSA spending dollars on this. Yep.
Excellent. Cool. No, I mean, because me personally, you know, I'm always thinking how, you know, I know that the brain slows down, and exactly what you were saying. It's like, well, keep my exercise up, try to eat good, you know, and, you know, electronic games for mind stimulation, but there's a lot more to it. So yeah, I definitely have an interest, and I know I have a number of clients who could definitely benefit.
Thank you. And that's a great point that you just made. We do so much for our body, right? We try to keep our body as healthy as possible. We know we need to eat right. We know we need to exercise. We know we need to get good sleep. But how often do we really think about our brain health as much as we think about our body health?
Hi, my name is
Hello.
Dawn at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Hi, Dawn.
To ask you about the PEMF treatment,
Yes.
and if you do that or you contract that out, and are there specific diagnoses that you utilize that treatment for?
No, we have it. We have a machine that we can put people on, and it can be used for absolutely anything. Doesn't have to be brain health. I honestly use it every single night, and it helps me sleep like a baby. I love that machine so much. What it does is the main focus of it is increasing circulation in our body, because a lot of times, especially as we age, our circulation decreases, which means that our brain is not getting as much of the oxygen as we need, and oxygen in our brain is absolutely vital for our brain health. And so what the PEMF device does is it really, really increases the circulation. If you go onto the Beamer website, BEMER, they have some really, really neat videos that show they've done like ultrasounds of the blood vessels that show what it looks like before somebody got on the PEMF device, and then what it looks like after, and the increase in blood flow is phenomenal. It's really, really exciting.
Thank you.
Certainly. Great question. Any other questions I can answer for anyone?
Where's the center located, Lindsay?
So right now I am virtual and mobile. I didn't want to, when I opened up last year, nobody was wanting to go out anywhere. So I haven't opened a brick and mortar location yet. So I travel out to people.
So you're the one doing all the testing and everything, a mighty team of one.
Yeah, so I have my medical director, Randy Vaudry, actually does the creation of the roadmap report. Once we get all of the blood work, I do the cognitive testing, and then you fill out like the life history review, and then we take all that and give it to Randy, and he actually is the one that compiles the roadmap report, and then I do the coaching, the ongoing coaching.
Very good.
Lindsay, this is Troy. I have another question.
Yes.
Are you just Frederick County, or do you do like Washington, Carroll?
Everywhere.
All right.
Anybody that needs it.
Okay.
And just about every aspect of this protocol can be done virtually, with the exception of the physical brain therapy devices. Those obviously need to be done in person, and there is a limited radius to how far I can drive for those. Yeah, just about every aspect of this can be done virtually.
Hi, Lindsay. I have a question.
Yes, Bonnie.
It's Bonnie Elliott with Care Patrol. I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the presentation,
that's fine.
unfortunately. So you might have mentioned this, but do you address diet? I mean, we hear a lot about the gut-brain connection and leaky gut and all that.
Diet is actually the number one thing that we address. Diabetes is the number one contributor to Alzheimer's right now. It's huge. So yes, diet is absolutely very, very key. Fixing the gut, fixing people's, insulin resistance. Absolutely. Yeah. Great question, Bonnie.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, Lindsay, thank you very much. This is a subject I think that everybody can easily relate to itself.
Yeah,
I
well,
know it's
thank you
got
so much.
I know it's got me rethinking several things here myself.
That's my goal, is to just start the conversation on brain health and helping people to know that there is hope out there. You don't have to, go to your neurologist and have them just kind of wash their hands and say, you're going to die, I'm sorry. And we don't want that to happen to people. So, if you happen to think of other questions, or you just want to know a little bit more after this, don't hesitate to reach out. I love talking to people about this. So thank you all so much for having me.
Hey, Lindsay,
Yes.
I'm sorry to jump on at the last second here, but
Yeah.
I just think about this too. My dad died of Alzheimer's, and it seemed like, and I'm older, I'm 59. In the 60s and 70s, people didn't live as long, right? They died at the 60, 65 age. Is it because we're living so much longer that we're seeing these mental health, why is Alzheimer's now such a big deal when maybe 30, 40 years ago it wasn't?
That is
just
a
the
great
aging process?
question. It is not just the age. Really good question. I'll try and get into a little bit if I have time. But yes, a part of it is that we are living significantly longer. And just as we age, our bodies age, and there's nothing that we can do about aging itself, unfortunately, yet. Maybe sometime in the future, but we will eventually age to the point that we do die. So our brains are going to age as well. So yes, as we are living longer into our 80s, 90s, over 100, our brains, we are going to experience some of that, but not to the extent that we are experiencing it now, not to the extent that it's such an endemic. And we are seeing younger and younger and younger people starting to be diagnosed with dementia, cognitive decline, and Alzheimer's. And honestly, a huge, huge part of it is diet. If you look at the advent of in the 50s and 60s, when processed food really, really started to become very, very popular, women started entering the workforce, things started to just not have enough time, and processed food was huge. We have never gotten out of that, and the standard American diet is a massive, massive contributor to diabetes and just the healthcare epidemic in the United States in general. So a huge part of it is the fact that healthy food is so expensive and so difficult to acquire, and that it's so much, yes, Bonnie, sugar is in absolutely everything. If you start reading package labels, just next time you go to the grocery store, look at everything you buy and look at how much sugar is in it. They sneak it in absolutely everything that it doesn't need to be in. So it's very, very difficult for us right now as a country to eat healthy and to get healthy. And I'm in the short, that is a huge part of why we're starting to experience a lot more dementia and Alzheimer's now.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you.
No, sugar's definitely the new evil, and you really got to pay attention to those ingredients. I mean, you look at some of those things like, this doesn't have sugar in it, and sure enough, you look at it, it's got just a little bit.
Chris, your comment is spot on. The low fat epidemic is one of the worst epidemic that could have happened, because fat is flavor, and what happens when you take out the flavor? You have to put something else back in, and what do they put in? Sugar. Fat is not your enemy. So if you take away anything, just read the labels and check out what's going on inside your food, and shop the perimeter as much as you can. Yeah, it's Bonnie. Yes, so our protocol is actually based on some of the research of Dr. Bredesen, and him and a whole bunch of other, leading, Alzheimer's researchers. But yes, absolutely, very familiar with him. God, you guys have the best questions.
Anybody else?
I just want maybe you to come back and talk about this PEMF MAD or machine or whatever it is that Diane asked about it, because that is, I just was looking online, that is fascinating. So maybe
it's really cool, isn't it?
crazy, maybe a follow-on, but you got us all thinking. Thank you.
Certainly,
Maybe
yeah.
we get an ESPC group discount. We'll just buy a bunch of them.
Absolutely. If you guys want to try, I am always maybe once we're able to meet in person and COVID is better, I would be more than happy to bring all of my stuff to some sort of meeting and let you guys try it all out. I'm more than happy to do that.
Wow. Awesome.
Great presentation. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Thank you all.
And I'm sure the phone will be ringing very shortly for help.
Happy to help any way that I can. I desperately want dementia to be a disease of the past. So anything that I can do to help anybody improve their brain health is my mission.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So we'll touch on the finances of the ESPC, and we'll talk about a few other things. So I'm going to switch the presentation over to. We'll already talk about this briefly because we did it about 2 months ago. Can you see the balance sheet here? Everybody nod their head, yes, very good. So as you can tell, we were still in the positive here itself. We still have just about $33,000 in the bank account here itself. For the month of December, there really wasn't too much out, just our QuickBooks online fees that we have here itself. So our assets are still good. But as you can see, not a whole lot coming in and out. But the bottom line is, yes, we are still healthy at this point. One of the things I do want to touch is there's a slight delay for membership, new membership itself. And that's because of the new platform we're putting in place. It's not quite ready for prime time here itself. And of course, membership is a contributor towards the funding that we have here. Any questions on the balance sheet? When Angela comes back, we'll actually have much more detail on that. The next item I wanted to touch on is, Bonnie, if you can touch, or maybe you can actually jump in. There's quite a few folks here who are on the Elder Expo here itself. If you can guys give us a little bit of an insight as to what the latest is with the plan for actually having a Elder Expo this year. I know there's been a lot of exploration, and I'm sure the latest derivative of COVID did not help towards that decision making. So anybody
No.
from the Elder Expo, please jump in.
No, it did not, Troy. Didn't help. And honestly, so I saw Christina's beautiful face on earlier. I wasn't able to listen. So I'm not sure if she talked about Compass for Caregivers or Elder Expo or what. But there's just a lot of unknowns, and no decision has been made is the answer. And Rayanne was crunching some numbers and trying to figure out, if we have an event and reduce the number of vendors to create space, what would that look like in order to still have a profit or break even? So we're meeting next week on Tuesday at 12:30 again. So hopefully she'll have something more definitive in the way of numbers for that. And if anyone wants to come and provide your input, join the meeting, that'd be great. I think
Okay.
there's about 5 or 6 of us usually that meet. So we don't have an answer, and I don't know, Christina, if you have anything to add to that, but
No, I think you summed it up really well, Bonnie. There's, it's just such a weird, nebulous time. Who would have thought that we would be here in this space now? Obviously, with things the way they are right now, none of us are considering getting a bunch of us together or seniors together at this time. So very much kind of in limbo.
Are we looking at the same facility we were targeting for 2021?
So that's one of the questions, right? Remember, we were going to make a change to the Clarion Hotel?
Correct.
And, we don't really have a commitment to them, although they're still, we believe, hanging on to our $1,000 deposit. We had essentially written that off before when the pandemic hit, but there's been a little bit of correspondence back and forth. We were at the fairgrounds before. In some respects, we've talked about that being a better COVID safe place because of airflow and space, but there's really we're not committed to anybody. We don't have a date anywhere with anybody, and we don't have a firm plan.
Christina, have you guys thought of just pushing it out maybe toward the summer, where hopefully COVID might, it always seems to get better in the summer?
Historically, it is in October.
Oh, okay.
With registration and stuff happening in the summertime. So there's still time that something could happen. It really just depends on where we have it. Can we book it? Can we secure a space somewhere? So lots of unknowns. And we've talked about, can we make it smaller so we can have more space? How many vendors could we put if we put more space between us. And that's what Rayanne's really looking at the numbers. What do we need to break even? How many vendors do we need to have to cover the costs? So.
And in the
Okay.
meantime, we can still help our bottom line, I guess, our financial situation with Compass for Caregivers sponsors. So I don't know if you mentioned this, Christina, but you know, we haven't had a sponsor for a while, and we could have 1, 2, or 3. You can do it for, I think, for 1 month, or for the quarter, or 6 months, and you get your name on the webinar. You get to do a little, submit a little video about your business. Christina mentions, as the moderator, mentions the sponsors, and now that we potentially have more people coming, that you're going to get more exposure. So
I mean, it's a pretty captive audience, again, for most of you, the people who are your target audience, right? It's the adult children or the spouses of seniors who need help. So we've got them captured pretty attentively for that hour. So yeah, Bonnie is right. And I apologize, I don't have the prices right off the top of my head. McGee, do you remember? It was like $100 for 1 month, or $250 for 3 months.
Yeah,
that's about right.
I'm looking it up if I can find it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can, we can
Sounds
send
like
it out if Troy wants to send it out, but it's easy, and we mention you a lot. You're in print, your logo's on the flyer, and you get to submit a video that's played at the beginning of the presentation.
Fantastic. So I'm going to switch back to the presentation agenda, if I do this correctly here itself.
And while you're doing that, Troy, guys, I've got to jump off, but it was really good to see everybody.
Hi,
Good to see you too.
Thank you, Christina.
So kind of in the lines of COVID and gatherings, Terry, can you talk about our grand hope of what we were going to do tonight and kind of plan B?
Yeah, so I had talked to the owner at Capital Crave, and we were going to have a happy hour gathering this evening. And what we're going to do with the gathering when we do reschedule is everybody's going to get 2 drink tickets. Everyone can bring 1 guest. Each guest can also have 2 drink tickets. We'll have like appetizers set up. At Capital Crave, they have dart boards. If you bring your own darts, you can play darts together and just congregate and have fun together. But because of the COVID surge, we all decided to postpone it. And so we're just going to keep an eye on things and take it from there. So stay tuned.
Yeah, so maybe February. It was a hard decision. We went back and forth, and I know everybody, folks, family, friends, employees. I mean, it was like a wildfire, especially with all the holiday gatherings and stuff. Every time you turned around, it's like, that's all we need is to get everybody who's a member of the ESPC come together, and we're all out for 2 weeks because we all got COVID because one person brought it in. So again, to be on the safe side, it's not going away. We, like as Terry said, we have a venue. We have everything set up, all good to go, and we'll cross our fingers, maybe February, but I don't know. This thing doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon here itself. One of the items I wanted to bring up here itself, many of you may have gotten this. Okay, I want to talk about, do you see this? It says an event. So there's an event the health department, not the health department, senior services department's putting together. Many of you may have got emails on this. It's happening on the 25th of January. There's actually 2 virtual showings here itself. It's about Lewy body, and our company itself have actually had several clients with Lewy body itself. And for me, of course, I did a lot of research. My team did a lot of research to understand about this itself. And obviously, as you can see, that's a picture of Robin Williams with that itself. It's free to sign up here. You see the web link there. You can go out to Senior Services Division within Frederick County. You can see that. And again, there's 2 showings. And I think even if you don't know much about it or you know something about it, I think it's a great idea to sign up for this free event just to understand more about it. So educate yourself so you can educate some of your clients or family or friends that you know about. So I wanted to bring that up to everybody because it just popped up on my radar, and my wife was knocking on my door and said, "Troy, did you sign up for that yet?" So yes, I did.
Troy,
Any other events?
I'm sorry, this is
Go ahead.
McGee. Just to add to that, this is part of the Dementia Friendly Frederick activities, which is reinventing, or not reinventing, but reinvigorating. This year, we're trying to increase the amount of dementia friendly, both government agencies as well as public businesses, et cetera, in our community, to increase the movement that we truly are a dementia friendly county. County Executive Jan Gardner did pronounce that in 2019, before the pandemic. In the fall of 2019, we had another film event, and this is a second event related to that. So we just encourage not only the event, but if you want to get involved in Dementia Friendly Frederick, let us know. We can help guide and direct you to resources and ways to make sure that your business is seen as a dementia friendly business, and or that you are involved in the movement. Thanks.
So you see, sorry, do you see like a big push in 2022, hopefully, for this
Yes,
program?
That is
Okay.
that is our plan, to really make the county dementia friendly.
Excellent. Do you know how the county is going to advertise that? Is that going to come through like county communications?
Well, like at this
or
film
what?
event, Jan
Mhm.
Gardner will be speaking again.
Okay.
So there's certain events. The Chamber of Commerce is going to have an event as well, for businesses to look at becoming dementia friendly trained for their employees and staffs as well. And then we will utilize also local marketing, newspaper, television, et cetera.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. No, that's good to hear. Because I remember when it came about, and you really didn't hear much about it, of course, because everybody was so bothered with COVID, but it's good to kind of see it come back to the forefront. Thank you. Other announcements for the month of January, other events that folks have that may be of interest to this group.
Troy, this is Rhonda. This isn't an event. Just a question for you. I tried to go on the website to renew my membership for 2022, but it still says 2021.
Yeah, Rhonda, we touched on that a little bit earlier. So give us about another 2 weeks, and the new process hopefully will be up and running, and we'll advertise that. So
Okay.
just hold tight. We didn't forget about you.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Anything else anybody wants to bring up?
Sorry,
Go
this is McGee again. I just put in the chat the sponsorship levels for Compass for Caregivers. It's $100 if you want to sponsor for a month. And we do have a flyer that I'll send to you, Troy, again about sponsorship, so you can see what all you get for your sponsorship.
Okay. Yeah, if you can send it to my direct business email, I read that much more than the ESPC one.
Sure.
All right, everybody. This was a great showing for our first time out this year in 2022. Stay safe. Get that shovel and snow blower out for this weekend because I hear it's a coming. So, and let's all be prepared. And thank you, and have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
Thank you,
guys.
Lindsay, for your presentation.
Thank
Bye.
you.